Hello, welcome to my combo lords. It is I, your teacher Domotro. Is this stream going correctly? Yes, technology, as you know, it can be weird. Always, when I pull open the backdrop in advance, it freezes and doesn't actually move to the new pages. So now we're going to pull open the backdrop from scratch here, which relates to a bunch of numbers related to a day that happened about a day or so ago. It is, luckily, a mathematical coincidence of when I'm doing this stream late. It's not quite New Year's Day or New Year's Eve, but it is 24 hours since it was still New Year's Day. So 2024 years from what we have determined as 0, which is somewhat arbitrary. You can see my episode about calendars if you'd like. But despite its arbitrariness, it's the world we're stuck in. 2024 is the year that just hit. Now, if you look up 2024 on somewhere like Wikipedia, you'll mostly just see about the year. See like, oh, what are plans, or already maybe some events that happened January 1st. And from there, if we try and get to the number, it doesn't have its own page. Looks like a few of the numbers do, if they have a bunch of... Does that one? And it's a trick. It just sent me back there. Why is that one blue? It's not doing anything. Anyway, they don't have that much info on Wikipedia itself, but you can go to selected numbers in a particular range by looking up a big round number at the bottom of that range. And then you'll get a few facts, like we can see last year it was 7 times 17 squared, a multiple of 7 with digit sum equal to 7, and the sum of the squares of its digits equals that 17. That's a somewhat random fact. Some of this is base 10 dependent, whereas this next fact they note is one of the best facts about this next year. There's a lot of facts about this year, trust me. It's just at the very beginning of tetrahedral being a fact. There are many, many facts. I have a few different pages we'll look through that have a lot more info than Wikipedia here. The tetrahedralness, though, is quite important. Now, first, let me just say Happy New Year's to everybody. Welcome to everybody in the chat. To the ones leaving questions, I'll have to answer those in a little bit. If you hang out, maybe I'll try and answer the fear of rejection question. I had a fun New Year's partying with some friends. You may hear my voice is a little burnt out, possibly from being quite late, being loud and rowdy with some friends on New Year's, and then also doing a bunch of fire experiments for the next few videos, which I've probably been inhaling a lot of, lighter fluided wood and stuff as well. So temporarily I got a little bit of a sore throat. I don't believe it's a sickness, because I was sick like a month ago, which left my throat probably a little weaker than average still. But I was worried I had COVID, so I took a COVID test and was negative on that, luckily. And so hopefully I'm not any sort of sick. Hopefully I just have a slightly burnt out voice, so pardon that. Anyway, I have been working on 2 new combo class episodes that'll be coming relatively soon. Some stuff came up where my camera guy wasn't able to come this week, so we're going to have to film extra next week. But I'm going to try and finish one of these 2 episodes with some filming myself on a tripod or something, because we already got a bunch of 2 different episodes. Not sure which will come first, but one is a snack break of sorts. Does have numbers involved, does have graphs involved, but it's really a snack break. The numbers and graphs relate to a cooking phenomena. Additionally, there is another episode I'm working on, which is about extremely large numbers. It's going to be somewhat of a callback to a tetration episode I did a while ago, and somewhat of a callback to when I do my spooky gags about 666 not really being cursed. Well, we're going to look at its friend, 6-hexated 6, which is 666 with brackets around the middle 6, and see if that might actually be a cursed version of 666. Somewhat joking. Now, tetrahedral numbers. These are really cool triangular numbers I've talked about. They are when you go like 1 dot, 1 plus 2 is the next one. Oh, squirrel's here. Come back, I have nuts for you. I hope it comes back. It's going somewhere else for now. Anyway, tetrahedral numbers are what I nickname myself a version of meta-triangular numbers, which you can go further as well in new dimensions. But tetrahedral are sort of the last dimension our brain can easily visualize because they're the 3D version. You basically are stacking triangular numbers. You have 1 on a 1 plus 2 on a 1 plus 2 plus 3. Oh, is that another squirrel? What was that? Anyway, they probably have a picture. Yeah, there's a tetrahedral number right there. So this would be the 5th one. And you can make it geometrically, but you can also make it like 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3. Anyway, in case those squirrels are hanging out and want to come back, I will leave one of these nuts just like on here in case they want to come just try and smell it out and grab it. So, I have a lot of squirrel footage too. That's another episode in progress, is sometime over grade -2. One of the remaining episodes, we're about somewhere between half and 2/3 done with the current grade of combo class, -2. And then we'll go to -3. But in -2, somewhere in there will be an episode about how I've befriended the squirrels over this past grade. And it might also relate to other animals, such as the feral cat that I adopted and befriended over a similar time frame. Now, tetrahedral numbers are really cool and awesome, and they're also Pascal's triangle. They're also in the binomial coefficients, if any of you know what that means. We're going to do at least one episode. It's either going to be a really long episode or multiple episodes about what I call meta-triangular numbers. And one really... the first thing that kind of blew me away when I was looking into them was a while ago. The first time it clicked that square numbers and cube numbers are another family that we could make some meta tree out of these. And it's true, they're called polygonal numbers or polytope numbers when they're generalized. And if you have 4 sides to start, it goes like square, and then depending how you stack it, it either goes square pyramid or cube. Here it does like other things with the triangular numbers, which form tetrahedral things. And there's so many cool patterns with those polytope numbers. And like I said, it's either going to be multiple episodes someday or like an episode that's more than half an hour to explain all the cool stuff. Now, we can see that if we continued this sequence, which, funny enough, this is actually one of the other resources we're going to use. In another tab, I have OEIS ready to just search the number. This is the Online Encyclopedia of Integer Sequences. Super cool website developed by a guy called Neil Sloan, and very, very good website. I love it. I guess this is a little too big. Maybe I need to shrink this a bit to get that. Yeah, that's closer. Now, anyway, here we can see that if we go further, 2024 is one. And if you care about the year aspect, you can see it's been a while since the last one, and it will be a while until the next one. Interesting how these next two have 2 zeros at the end. 2300, 2600. Now, that's just the tip of the iceberg, like I said. If we say search on this Online Encyclopedia of Integer Sequences, we will find a number of sequences that it's within. The first they list is tetrahedral. If you search a really small number here, you're more likely going to need to search a few of them in a row, because too many sequences have like 4 in them. But not as many sequences within the first maybe 50 or so terms they list. They list the first 44 terms. You can usually get the rest of them down here, somewhere in the comments. Someone will leave a link to a huge list of the text of all of them. Not all of them. There's an infinite amount, but a lot of them. And here within the first, that many numbers that they do, 44, I guess, Or maybe it varies depending on how long they are. I don't know. Within the first 44 terms, not that many sequences of 2024. So we can sort of just filter types of number that it is by doing that. Now, that's a lot of info about these. Number of compositions of n such that no two adjacent parts are equal. Interesting. If we do an iterated formula where each term is n times 2 more than itself, which can also be written as n plus 1 squared minus 1. Now, if we iterate this, which is another way of writing that, we get to 2024. Now, what other stuff do they have on OEIS? They have 8 times of triangular numbers. This is 8 times as large as one of the triangulars. They have number of compositions, ordered partitions of n into squares. That's cool. And a lot of different partition questions. Now, here's a neat one. Sum of the first n even square numbers. And this is a way that, a strange formula that turns out to work to be that. Now, this is almost like a square pyramid with some layers skipped. It's going to be like a square pyramid that gets wider quicker because we're adding 2 squared, 4 squared, skipping the odds. But if we look at which number this is, we can see that it's the sum of the first 11 even square numbers. That's pretty neat. Let's look at just a few more here. Oh, the dodecahedral numbers. It's several types of relationship to these polygonal numbers. This is a 10-sided thing like triangular number, square number. Pentagonal numbers are pretty cool. Hexagonal numbers are pretty cool. We need to mention the next 7-sided ones because they're a little weirder in some ways. After that, we don't need to go all the way to dodecahedral numbers in the episode maybe, but they might get a little mention. Now, more stuff related to the polytopes. Interesting. So, what else do we have to look through? Well, there's a really cool site called Numbers Aplenty. Shout out to Numbers Aplenty. You can search a number in maximum 15 digits. That's not very restrictive. You can go pretty high up. And it has all these types of numbers similar to, maybe they even got some from OEIS, I don't know. They got them in a similar way probably, that they then put on each page. Like they list all the Cunningham numbers somewhere, but they also say this on the page. So we could see they just list some stats, how many divisors and stuff. We could see which primes it's before and after. That's a little confusingly phrased because it's not a prime. They just mean which prime was before and after it. Here we could see that it's the sum of the first 22 triangular numbers. That's because it is the 22nd tetrahedral number. And wow, not only was it the sum of the first 11 even squares, but it's also the sum, apart from 1, of 2 through 9 cubed. That'll mean that 2025 will be the sum of the first 9 cubes. And it turns out that numbers that are the sum of the first n cubes are very interesting and are other types of numbers as well. And it relates to the fact that next year will be a square number year. So, and a particular type of square number year, a special one, related to the polytope numbers. So, these are all connected. Now, here we have that it's 1 less than a square. It is a non-trivial binomial coefficient. Turns out that that's because the meta-triangular numbers are this graph, basically. This also means that if you have 24 items and you need to choose 3 of them, called 24 choose 3, there's 2024 exactly ways to do that. Like if I had 24 possible snacks and I was going to bring 3 on a hike. So that's pretty neat. These are types of numbers we've discussed when we looked at aliquot sums. And divisors and such. This chair is sinking in the mud. The chairs are pointy, and in the mud here, it just like sinks and sinks. Okay. There's a lot of chaos here from some of the stuff we've been filming, so I have some fixing of the classroom to do soon. Now, anyway, this is a fun little trait related to divisors, that it is a pair with this other number. It's divisible by the sum of its digits in our base. Oh, I also noticed here, pretty cool. Look at its base 3 representation. 22022222. That's a lot of 2s. Okay. And wow, what a weird coincidence. Here, it says 2024. No, I'm kidding. That's because it's listing its base 10 representation. What is a palindrome? If its digits are in non-decreasing order in that base. So, palindrome in these bases. That's fun. It's not unprimable. You can switch it to a prime with just changing 1 digit in our base. This fact is actually another phrasing of this fact. Now, untouchable, I love these. These we looked at with aliquot sums. If you add up the proper divisors, which are the divisors of a number apart from itself, of a number, you get some thing called its aliquot sum. Now, if you look at which numbers are another number's aliquot sum, like if I take 4 and I add up the digits of it, or add up its factors apart from 1, I get 2 plus 4, that's 6. And so 6 can be gotten. But you'll find that you can't get some numbers like 2. How would I get 2? So here we can see, oh, that's cool. Erdős, one of my favorite mathematicians, apparently was the one to prove there was an infinite amount of these. This guy is super wacky. He had quite a life. And he's really cool. We'll mention him more sometime. Now, where's more terms? So there's a decent amount of them, but from the beginning, there's a bit of a gap here, interestingly. Every number from 6 to 51 is, I guess you'd say, touchable. I don't know if that's the right term, but they're touchable numbers. So this is kind of trippy, like 2, 5, 52, 88, and all those ones in between can be gotten, but not these. Then you get a bunch of others, and we get up to 2024. It's a polite number. It is a pernicious number. I love all the nicknames in number theory. It's an arithmetic number, an apocalyptic... Oh, no, 2 to this power is an apocalyptic number. I think that means it has 666, I guess, somewhere in it. This says... I feel like I've heard a similar term, which is that it has 666 digits in our base, but maybe there's multiple types of apocalyptic, or maybe I'm thinking of something else. It's amenable, it's practical, it's abundant, pseudo-perfect. So many cool nicknames in number theory, and 2024 gets a lot of them. Now, let's look at its factors, and note, where does it say the divisors? Here. We can see it has a good amount of factors. At the bottom, it just has the powers of 2 for a little bit, but then we get an 11. And we get a 23. And we get some other stuff that's helping us out there. So, it has a decent amount of divisors. It's pretty divisible, although it is... Yeah, so it's abundant, makes sense, because the divisors add up to more than itself. The divisors apart from itself. Oh, wait, sorry. I was doing the thing a little backwards a second ago when I was saying the aliquot sum. Pause for 1 second on that. The aliquot sum, I was leaving out the 1. You're supposed to leave out the number itself. So for 4, it wouldn't make 6. It would make 3. I would leave out the 4 and do 1 plus 2. For some reason, I was thinking of, it's another like type of experiment I've tried, but it doesn't have as much of a common nickname, is if you look at the sum of the divisors where you leave out 1 instead or also. Now, so yeah, that's the correct thing for the aliquot sum would be 4 would go to 3, and 6 still is, we can get there somehow because it's not untouchable. So something does have 6. That would be the number 6 has itself. That's pretty cool. That's because it's a perfect number. So yeah, a lot of stuff's connected. Perfect numbers. We've done those before, but they'll come back. In fact, they're related to the triangular numbers we were talking about. So we'll leave this open for a moment because there's a bunch of random facts, but they're starting to get to a more generic type of facts. The spelling in words is this. But wait, IBAN number? Oh, this is funny. IBAN, because they banned I. It doesn't contain the letter I. So here we go. Oh, this is interesting. The square root of it has a lot of 8s right there. That's kind of neat. Look, 44.98888. Oh, and if we rounded, the next one would round to 8 too. All right. It is all of these other cool traits. Now, there is one other spot that I also pulled up to get some other stuff. Let me answer some comments, and then I'll go to the 3rd or 4th, if you count Wikipedia, website that has some facts on it. First, thank you all for joining. Love the squirrels. Somebody asked the cat's name. I have a few cats. The original 2 are Sage and Dandelion. And the newer stray, who fits in very well, he's very nice, is named Sassafras. And to other questions, I may have to come back to those later. Real quick, I will say that I'm not going to that conference in San Francisco, although I do live relatively close to that city. And I live in the East Bay, not that far from there. And I don't have the time or various things at the moment to go to that conference, but maybe sometime in the future. Let me know how it is in some future comment. And thank you for all of the other questions, but I'm not going to be able to get to all of them later. I will try and get back to that one I mentioned earlier at least. Now, and again, Happy New Year. In a little bit, in addition to looking at some more facts, we will also eat a strange fruit. I mean, when I say strange, it typically just means I haven't had it before. And sometimes you get a fruit that the type of fruit you've had before, but it's like a different shape or color than you're used to. And that can be cool. And in this case, it's a different color. It's a grapefruit, but normally I'm used to them being somewhere from yellow to pinkish red to orange, one of those shades. And these ones, at their ripe stage, apparently, I bumped into somebody at the produce store, and they recommended it. They said that these were ripe, even though they look very green. So I've never tried a grapefruit that's supposed to be green. So that'll be neat. And let me take a 2-second break, more accurately 2 minutes, and then we'll look at another website. I will leave this up, and I'll even leave the camera facing where a squirrel could run by, theoretically. And I'll be back shortly. Just got to grab some water, and then we got another website and a little more chatting. Probably about half an hour more stream. Okay, folks, we're back. So, let's see how everyone is doing. And then look up some more facts about our brand new year. Brand-ish new. Like I said earlier, we get an excuse. It's 2024, New Year's Day, plus 24 hours. Or we could say it's New Year's Eve, plus 20, plus 24, probably. What would that be? That would be 1 day and 20 hours would get us to somewhere during New Year's Eve day, not the exact switchover, was 20 plus 24 hours ago. Now, well, I realized a funny thing is some people call it 2024, which is its whole name. It's like, you call it that if you're like the parent who's like Jonathan Walker Zonker, or like when you say the whole name or whatever. You're like 2024. I guess you're not scolding it, but you're doing a different type of clarity. Often, though, people say 2024 when they're being more casual. Sort of a nickname is to split it, and you're basically just pronouncing two numbers that are in there. So if it's acceptable to split it and pronounce two numbers that are within it, why doesn't anyone ever call it 202-4? I want to start saying that just to throw people off. Yeah, it's the new year, 202-4. Like, technically, it's not that much weirder than 2024. Now, okay, anyway, we can't do it the other way in this case because 224 wouldn't be clear that there was a 0 before that one. But we could go this way. So, that, if you want to confuse somebody, you could say that. Now, the other... Oh my god, this chair is so diagonal in the mud. It's ridiculous. So, it's like I needed to interview some, like, super professional, like, legit mathematicians here and have them just be, like, sinking. It'll be like they're on, like, the Eric Andre show or something because it's like... I'm not trying to do it, but it's, like, pranking me. Look at this. Look what the chair is like right now. So, let me make this bigger. The chair, you can't, I don't know if you can see it, that I'm like flat, but like right here, this is like flat, and this chair leg, you see there's a nice long one that's full. And then let's look at the other chair leg. It's hard to steer. Here's the other chair. This is hard to see. But anyway, the chair is completely diagonal. Like, that leg is like 2 feet long. This one is almost getting to a foot long. It's almost like half as long of a leg as the other one now. So maybe I need less pointy chairs when it's muddy out. This one's doing it too. Okay. Maybe I need to put something on the bottom of these chairs. Although it's kind of funny. But you can't see it that well on camera. Now, what you will be able to see well on camera is in the new episodes I'm working on, there are some pretty crazy moments of, oh my god, of stuff getting destroyed or fire or some of the chaos we like to throw in from time to time. For example, let me just show you a little, I guess I have it just on my phone. I don't think I've put this on the computer yet. We filmed this on the phone. Let me show you a photo of something, or it'll be a silent second of a video of something that might be happening there in the episode. Oh, also, I want to make an episode about catnip and this other alternative called silvervine. There's these sticks that technically come from some part of some kiwi plant, and it triggers a catnip-like reaction in cats. And apparently is even, like, better. Like, catnip makes them get a little too hyper. This one, like, they're better at just, like, rubbing all over it, getting all, like, floppy and silly, and then putting it away for a while. In fact, it disappears for a while. It's like they have a hiding spot for it in the house, because it'll disappear for months at a time, the silvervine stick we had, and then it'll show up again, and one of them's playing with it. And here's an example of, like, sage and dandelion. Oh, this is hard to see because it's reflecting the screen. It's like reflecting what's on the screen. But, okay, that's very hard to see. Anyway, I'll get a better version of them playing with the silvervine later. But this It's okay if you see a bad version, because then it'll be a little less of a spoiler. This is a moment that may be in one of the, in the next episode. I'll just show you a photo of it. You know how I said one of them is a snack break? Well, we might get real wild with the oven. Okay. So, anyway, that will be in a snack break, and there's another really crazy episode coming up soon as well. Now, there is one more 2024 thing I wanted to skim through. It may contain some duplicate facts, but they'll be phrased in a different way. These websites phrase it in a very mechanical way, because a lot of it is, I mean, on the OEIS, there's a comment section that is more human written, but the main thing is sort of mechanically generated to sort of follow a rule set. Like every page does this. Every page has these types of things, and everything is phrased in this way, like sort of like you want it to be, you know, a rule set or system. Now, sometimes it's good to hear just random people phrase stuff. And I did look up and see there was an interesting looking thread on the subreddit on Reddit called r/math that asked people, hey, well, here's a fact about it. What other facts you got? What are your favorite fun facts or math-related oddities? And so here we're going to see some people mention probably their phrasing of a lot of the facts we already saw, but there might be some new ones thrown in as well. I haven't fully looked through this page yet. The first one's sort of just a gag. That's a great fact. It's 2025 minus 1. That's almost as good of a fact as 2023 plus 1. Now, this one says it's a kilobyte plus a kibibyte. And apparently that looks like a KB plus a big KB. Is this true? That sounds very cool. KB, not a rapper. We don't want to get copyright struck. Verse KB. A kilobit is 1,000. And it's 1/8 of the size. So this one is 1024. We'll have to look up this one later. I'll figure out if that's a good fact. I'll probably compile my favorite few facts into a short of these. That's what I was thinking of filming, was a short about a few fun facts about it, but they weren't all going to fit, so I decided to do it in a live stream, and I might also do a short of it. I do have some shorts I've filmed that I've been saying for a while that I'm going to get back to posting shorts, back to posting more stuff on my Patreon. I'll try and really actually do one of those tonight that I have ready, and back to posting more general content and stuff at a faster rate. And I've just had a lot going on the past few months. I was sick for a while and had various issues in, you know, personal life and stuff. And I also just go through more depressed phases at times. I have been diagnosed with depression as well as anxiety. And I have been diagnosed with possibly having a mild form of bipolar disorder. Although another psychiatrist said that possibly that part was actually more of ADD or ADHD. So I'm not sure exactly what's in the cauldron up here, but assuming I may have a little bit genetically, it seems to be the case. Certain things get passed down from family members, so you can see similar traits in a mild amount of bipolar disorder, which means that I may have some phases where I go slower and feel more moody and don't publish as much and work on just more personal writing and stuff in a very introverted way. And then I may have some phases where I'm a bit more manic, which, you know, may be annoying if you're around me too much, but for the viewers who get to choose when they click my videos, the manic phases are probably best for you because those probably have the most content come out. Anyway, I'm feeling good about this new year. I think this new year, a lot of good things are going to happen, not just because it's tetrahedral, but just because whenever it's a new year, it's a good excuse to be like, okay, fresh start on a few things. I could, update my habits and schedules and rituals and so on. And let's make sure this year is comboed out. So here we had this thread. I'll look up more details if what that means later. Sounds cool. Now, someone said next year it'll be a perfect square, so you can do da-da-da. This person gives a good recommendation, like we did, search OEIS, and they name a few things we saw in there. Somebody likes checking if a number is divisible by 11 by using a trick that I actually at one point did show in either a short or video of some sort, where you sort of alternately add and subtract the digits and see if that results in a multiple of 11. And the test works on 2024, so it's divisible. We saw that among the factors. Here we have 24 choose 3 being that, and how that's also related to its tetrahedralness. And hailstone numbers, these are the ways that under the Collatz conjecture, the 3x plus 1 problem, which I do have an episode not long ago about how doing that in binary gives cool patterns. And this person said related to Collatz, but it's actually the same thing. The hailstone numbers are another name for this. Collatz, it's also called the Syracuse function and other stuff. But some things have various nicknames. But this is like if we divide it in half whenever it's even, triple it and add 1 whenever it's odd, and see if it goes to this loop that all numbers seem to go to, but nobody's proven whether they do or don't. Now, oh, this is good. You know how the sum of the 2nd through 9th cubes were it? If we want to include 1 and 0, we can include -1 because cubes flip. Like a -1 cubed gets negative again. So -1 cubed is -1 in this mix, cancels out the 1 cubed, and leaves us that as like the functional part. So that's cool. It's the sum of the cubes from -1 to 9. Now, -1 cubed, you don't always call that a cubic number. Cubic number sometimes implies whole, like positive integer being cubed. But we can call it, it's a number being cubed at least. Here, somebody says it adds up to 8. Now, so, various ones. This is a random way of using the numbers from 10 to 1 to get it. 10 minus 9 plus 8 times 7 times 6 factorial divided by 5 divided by 4 plus 3 times 2 plus 1 factorial. I wish they threw some parentheses in there. That's pretty confusing, but we could, use the order of operations. But this would be a lot neater with parentheses. Now, somebody's saying one of the facts we saw in OEIS, but like I said, sometimes we get their facts phrased differently. We get it in like a less mechanical, more human phrasing, which could be less accurate but more understandable. Not that these are inaccurate, but in general, a human saying something versus something like whatever numbers aplenty's computer whips up, probably less often is perfectly accurate, but more often you'd be able to get an intuition from. Oh, here, this site is sorted here too. They have all my good sites. Now, somebody says it is the 1000, it's the this composite number. Somebody says if you add up this means looks like adding up the or the squares from 1 squared to 11 squared, and then multiply all that by 4. Now, this, they made a little equation. This is 44, 44, and 44 times 44. I guess that might go to it. Is that correct? That's pretty neat. Yeah, that's a pretty cool symmetrical one. All right, so those are some fun facts about the upcoming year. Let's celebrate the year with this rare fruit. Like I said, it's a grapefruit that is ripe, but is supposed to be greenish. And so, haven't had one of those before. could be intriguing. Let's see how it tastes. Now, I think I was even going to eat this or one of my garden fruits a couple streams ago, but that was when I lit myself on fire. So we had to wait. I still have like a blister from that that's like almost healed. Okay. Whoa, it's like yellow. That's interesting. Got a bunch of seeds. We'll sort of knife their way out. And after this, we'll take a few bites, look at the chat, maybe answer one or two of those questions, and then I probably have to go because there's going to be a bunch of noise around here. There's going to be some construction starting kind of near here in like 10 minutes. And also because my voice is a bit burnt out and I don't want to strain it too much. And finally, because I do want to work on uploading a bonus thing I filmed that was going to be for the Domotro channel, but it didn't turn out that great. I do those in one take, so sometimes I don't like the take afterward. So that's going to go up on Patreon, the random bonus video that I didn't like the take of. And then sometime this week or next week, I'll refilm it in a better way for the Domotro channel. Now, but I'll put that bonus one for the Patreons tonight, and I'll also be editing our next wild episodes and some random shorts I filmed. Now, let's see how this thing tastes. There's a lot of seeds in random spots. Okay. That's really sweet. There's like a little bit of that grapefruit taste, but it's a lot mellower and sweeter. That's good. I approve. Now, it still has a little bit of that bitterness that grapefruits have, so not everyone would like it, but I don't mind the bitterness. It can be good. So, thank you to everybody who's left all these comments, and so nice, all these different thoughts that people leave, encouraging me, and just leaving their random thoughts. And somebody asked what's the volume of it. I'm not sure. Somebody asked if they can collaborate. I do have a Discord server, so the Discord server is linked in the comments. I've been really slow and bad about getting back to emails people have sent me. I'm going to really catch up on that as soon as I can. So don't expect me to get back to you immediately if you reach out trying to collaborate, but you can always send me an email or a Discord message, and at some point I will try and get back to you. And the Discord server is linked in the description. A lot of fun chatting going on there for anyone who wants to chat with some other combo lords. Now, that's about most of what I wanted to cover on today's stream. We'll go for just a few more minutes. Somebody asked earlier how to get over fear of rejection. Now, I wouldn't say I'm perfect at it because it comes in different forms depending on what type of rejection. Like, some people might have gotten good at or been naturally good at like rejection socially, but not like rejection from jobs or rejection of like you lost a game or something. So you get good at different ones, and a lot of it is just practice, sort of like forcing yourself to encounter the thing enough times that you realize, hey, that wasn't that bad. And so then you sort of get better at things. I'm not perfect at all sorts of that. I still fear certain sorts of rejection, but I don't know. If you look back more at the lore, I had a crazy incident where I almost died shortly before I created Combo Class. In fact, I was trying to create it before that, but wasn't successful until after I was like in the hospital for a long time and crazy stuff. And after I almost died and felt like I came back to life, I had a lot more of a, pardon my language, but like a I don't give a fuck type vibe about stuff. Like, after I felt like I came back to life, it was a bit like, wow, the worst things, I've gone through some of the worst things ever and some of the worst pain ever and stuff, and like almost everything in my life that happens won't be as bad as some of the things that already happened. So unfortunately that might have happened to me partially, like being good at dealing with certain types of rejection just because I've been through so much. But you just got to take little steps. You got to try little versions of it and see that it wasn't that bad to get different types of rejection. Of course, you can also use rejection as a chance to learn, because if you are rejected by something, then, you know, and maybe next time if you do something else similar and you don't want to get rejected, you are going to want to think about, you know, was I doing something that caused this rejection that I could, you know, think harder about or work harder on or something. So those are some random thoughts about that. But like I said, I'm not perfect about it either. Part of why I don't go through my emails is because I'm like nervous, like anxiety of the social aspect of it. And so I certainly am not perfect at that, but somehow with my videos in particular, I'm pretty good. I don't know. It really my mood really changes from different times, but if I'm meeting strangers in person, I sometimes do get kind of nervous depending on my mood, or fear things like rejection. I'm very comfortable around my 10 or 20 closest friends, and I'm weirdly comfortable on posting my videos. I think it was just because when I posted my videos, I didn't expect them to get big at first, and so some of them were kind of casual in that I was just like kind of being myself and exploring some random pattern with numbers. And they got a surprisingly good reception of like nice comments, and some of them got a lot of views for it just being like a 1.5-year-old channel. And so like my live streams don't get many views, but we've had various videos that get what I consider to be a good amount at this point in development. And so it got a surprisingly good reception. So I guess I felt like it helped me build some of my pride back that I had lost in the past, and feel like, oh, hey, so people kind of like my natural self to a degree. Like, they probably also like if I try and tell some jokes and, you know, maybe get silly props and stuff on purpose, but they also like my natural self. And so that made it easier to try and think about, like, okay, if I'm going to make a bunch of videos on different topics, like one of my next episodes is going to be a snack break. Not all the viewers are going to like it. I'm trying to throw in a couple math facts as well, or math visualizations of things, but not everyone's going to like the snack breaks as much. However, enough of my combo lords do that I feel safe with, like, despite maybe it'll get some rejection or whatever from some comments that are like, no, I like the math more or whatever. Despite that, there will be some people who enjoy my weird experiments. I don't want to spoil the topic, but it's something I've mentioned on stream a while ago. There's a few snack breaks I've like hinted at in the past. It's one of those. The math episode about very large numbers, I've also mentioned some hints about before. And one of those will be coming next. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to film with my main camera guy until next week, but I could see if someone else might be able to help me, another friend or something, and see if I can get out one of those episodes in 2 or 3 days maybe. In any case, I think I gotta go because they're about to start making some loud noises pretty soon, and, you know, I'm a bit worn out from New Year's and all sorts of stuff, but I love all of you so much. Somebody said, turn down the brightness. Maybe you just mean when I was holding up the phone, but I'll remember to look at those settings. And other people say they love me, and I love all of you too. That is very nice. Combo class, I have tried to make sure that love is an included part, because it's very important. For example, in my grade -1 final exam episode and written version, which is on the Combo Class channel, not this one. You remember to make sure that you all are tuned into the channel called Combo Class too, because that's the one that gets like a really good episode every 1 to 2 weeks. This channel is a little more random and chaotic, if anything. And I've linked the latest one I made on there in the description. But in an older one, in the final exam, I made sure there's a math section, and then there's an appreciation section that was about like telling someone you love them and going and trying to appreciate a different cool animal and appreciate a cool plant and stuff like that. So we are all about trying to have love and appreciation. This isn't actually what I call a math channel, despite many people classifying it as that. This is sort of just like my chaotic journey mixed with an education show. And it just happens that I like math a lot. But in the mix, expect science, expect me to encourage lovingness, expect music, expect nature, and things like that as well. So, and expect more of me coming up because I've been a little vacant over the past couple months in comparison to my usual schedule. But that's not the plan going forward. I feel prouder when I post more. So I will be getting back to that as soon as I can. Now, love all of you so much, and I'm going to leave here. Somebody said there are different kinds of love, and that is certainly true. Some people, you can have a romantic love, you can have a best friend love, and the love I have for you guys, is a little different than the love you have for me even, because each of you know me better than I know an individual one of you. Each of you know me about as well as I know the whole group of you. And so, it is a little different. I don't know you guys as well, but just seeing little comments and imagining glimpses into people's lives, hearing what people think about topics, hearing where they're from and stuff, I feel like I know some of you a little bit, and just the fact that we are linked in, you are watching me in some form, makes me feel like there is some sort of appreciation, love thing going on there. So, I genuinely do love all of you, and I'm going to take off at this point, work on those things I was talking about, and I hope that all of you are having a nice start to your new year. Remember that although New Year's resolutions can be cheesy, they also can be something you can make real. You can think about a few ways in which you may want a fresh start, or may want to change some sort of way you do things during the day, your habits or your schedules or such. And, maybe think about that a little bit, because it's a good chance to feel like, oh, if you want to try something new, if I want to say, I'm going to try and go jogging every day now, or I want to say, I'm going to try and not eat sweets until after I have eaten broccoli, or I'm going to say, I'm going to try and work this many hours on my music each day, or whatever goal you have like that, then you can think like, oh, maybe I'll have a fresh start, and it sort of motivates you. It even works a little bit at the beginning of any month, to me at least. It's like, oh, it's the first of the month. Maybe this month I will begin this new healthy habit or whatever. Which I need to work on a bit. I haven't been exercising as much the past few months, and I want to lose a little weight and gain a little more muscle, which actually maybe won't result in me losing pounds of weight, but I want to lose some of the stomach fat and gain some muscle. And like I used to have back in the day, before you folks knew me, I was in pretty good shape at certain times. So we can get back there, hopefully. But yeah, like the last comment said, also be kind to yourself. So don't use New Year's resolutions to like hate on yourself or worry too much. Everyone makes mistakes and does dumb stuff, me included, more than anyone. So all got a lot of ways to grow, but we should still love our current selves. So take care, folks. I will see you all in probably, if you're on Patreon, I'll see you with the bonus video tonight. If you're not, I'll see you with the live stream in a day or two. So, until then,